Hey, Charles, I heard a rumor. I heard a rumor that you love Halloween.
I don't know what you're referring to. I can't even begin. You can't believe all of the things that you hear people tell you, Barbara. It's
Oh,
this is There's all sorts of gossip and hearsay out there. But okay, in this case, it's true. I do love me some Halloween, some All Hallows Eve, and as should any good terrorist, because this is when the All Hallows Eve, we are told, is when the veil between the worlds is thin.
mhm.
I mean, the veil between the worlds, could be like, if it eats too much Halloween candy, it won't be as thin. But
It won't be as thin.
there we
Oh,
go.
and just to harken back to something we like to talk about, one might say All Hallows Eve is a liminal time.
It's a liminal time. Okay, so if we, yeah, in old timey Ireland, Samhain is I know, like, it's so cute in movies they say Samhain, but Samhain, if we're being pedantic, which I always am, um, was the New Year, Celtic New Year. It was the beginning of winter. So Samhain means summer's end. And I have a whole PowerPoint about the history of Halloween that I will not make anyone suffer through today. But it is a very big time for fortune telling. And it always has been, I will just say, or at least when you look into how people celebrated Halloween in Ireland and in England and in Scotland, sort of before it made its journey across the pond, there were lots of traditions that on that night you could divine. Usually, it's the person you're going to marry or fall in love with by looking in a mirror at this time of night, or by throwing apple peels on the fireplace and seeing what letters they shrivel up to represent, and all sorts of divinatory practices. But it has been a big time for tarot readers. And so you work in the industry. So is that a big time of the year for you guys?
Yeah, yeah. Did you mean at Llewellyn or
Yeah,
like?
yeah, Llewellyn, yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it is a big deal in terms of, sales. Like our salespeople sell for the Halloween season in August. So,
Hmm.
that's already all set. And then Llewellyn itself,
Hmm.
it's each department does like a departmental costume and the place gets decorated. One year the sales department brought a motorcycle in as a prop, like a real motorcycle into the building. Yeah. I mean, we would go all out for Halloween. The morning of Halloween at Llewellyn, no work got done. And because, yeah, yes, a big deal indeed.
Deal. So I noticed, I couldn't tell you exactly when, maybe 10 years ago, I noticed that at Spirit Halloween stores, which are like the big box Halloween or the big mega Halloween stores that show up around the country, um, there were they were getting to have dedicated tarot sections, right? And they were getting to have these sort of like this aisle where it would have all the accoutrement for uh, a tarot reading on Halloween. So you'd see all of the cloths that are like lacy and creepy, and different decorations with moons and the zodiac and different things on them. And a lot of them, like specifically were, tarot reading. And so I think that uh, so the tradition continues, and Halloween remains a very important night in our culture for or even this, like, Halloween is not a night anymore. It's kind of a month, right? It's an important time in our culture for tarot. So I thought it'd be fun to talk about how to incorporate tarot into your Halloween gatherings and festivities. How does that sound?
Yeah, I think that that's a great topic. And you are the extrovert, you are the party person, and I feel like you're going to have much more to offer our viewers than I will, but I'm here for just to let the spirit of Halloween wash over
Oh,
me.
yes, absolutely. No, no, actually, I think you have some we were chatting before you with this call, you had some really cool ideas for like games and things to do with it. Okay, so how to have Halloween, how to have Halloween at a tarot party, how to have tarot at a Halloween party. Here's the deal, kids. There's like kind of two main ways to go about this. So if you're watching this, you're probably the tarot expert in your group of friends. And one thing is at a Halloween party for part of the evening, set it up so that you're going to offer free readings for the attendees. And that's like the main way that I've seen it get done. We'll get into another one in a second, but a couple things to keep in mind. You're going to want to create a liminal space. We're big on the liminal. So find an area that's not next to the music, where there can be a little privacy if there's going to be private readings given. Sometimes at the party, there's an hour of just everyone watching people receive their reading. And those tend to be a little more jokey and a little more comedic, and that's okay if that's what the group is doing. But if you can't, having a little more privacy and having a space, this is where you get to use all of that accoutrement that we buy all year long. So the candles, the cloths, the all of it, the crystals, taxidermy, whatever it is. You want to have quick readings. So some of us can give hour-long readings, but not at a party, especially if you're going to do a bunch of these. So the goal is 5 minutes or less, and that's easy to do if you can get into it. So you're going to use the same spread pretty much for everyone, which I always just do present, future, after that, and then a fourth card at the bottom, which is action to take. That's my favorite, but I think most readers do like a past, present, future reading, and that, like, if everyone gets the same reading, you're just going to be able to like get right into the flow of the reading. Another thing I tend to do at parties like this is I shuffle the cards ahead of time and I fan them out, and I have people pull from that so that we're not taking up any time shuffling. And also, not everyone is going to be very gentle with your precious tarot cards.
Yeah.
It's good. So just about any tarot deck is going to look like a spooky Halloween tarot deck for the muggles. But this is a time of the year to bring out our more dark and terrifying. The Trick or Treat tarot. Talk about the Trick or Treat tarot.
Oh, well, it's not dark and terrifying, but
this is a lighter one.
It's a lighter one. Yeah, Trick or Treat Tarot is a deck I made a few years ago. Oh, you can't really see it on here, but anyways, yeah, it's based on Halloween costumes, really. So there's a lot of cards.
So instead of like Frankenstein's monster and a werewolf, this is a kid or a parent dressed up as
exactly
vampire. Yeah, things like that. Yes, and actually, it's not vampire. Elvira is your Nine of Pentacles, and she is she's the great hero of my life. So that's an incredible deck just for that reason. And again, it's not her; it's dressed up as her. It's costumes, and it's about the costumes we wear in life and trying on different roles. It's very cool. I just so happen to have an empty box right here that contained at one point Tarot of the Vampires, which is I was the author, Craig Marr is the illustrator, and it looks at the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot tradition from the lens of modern vampire fiction. So things like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, True Blood, Anne Rice, these sorts of things. It's a really fun deck. And on my TikTok channel, I have a little channel called @TarotQuest, where I'm doing daily interpretations of the cards. So if you're interested, you can hop on over there. So anyway, have a spooky deck, or the Rider-Waite-Smith to most people looks pretty, especially if it's more like an old-timey coloration of it.
Right.
Looks plenty fun. Couple things. Before we get into that, the other method of doing this is if no one's the tarot expert, a thing to do is to get a deck and the guidebook. And just to toot horns here, Llewellyn's guidebooks are pretty, substantial. As a matter of fact, yes. So I just so happen to have one of those here. It's an infomercial. with a full color meaning and a full page of information about the card. Not just trying to pitch it, but in a party setting where people aren't the experts, you want something a little more substantial rather than enterprise, gatherings, loss, like just one word kind of meanings. But okay, the other method is you get a tarot deck, everyone sits around the dining room table, you light the candles, ooh, you put on whatever music that's kind of spooky, and then you give each other readings in turn. So people go either to the right or to the left and read for that person. And in that reading, you're mainly reading the guidebook meanings and everyone's laughing or making jokes about it. And they tend to be a little more silly and fun readings in that regard. So that's a different way to do it. That brings everyone together. It's more of a party atmosphere. Or if everyone in the reading at the party is a weirdo like yourself, that could also be another way to do it, is to make the reading kind of a discrete part of the night where like everyone's doing it for an hour. It's important to set a time limit, because I've read at parties where the whole night is just me reading there, and then at the end of the night, when I'm ready to like finally fraternize and have a good time, everyone's tired and wants to go home. So it's good to have like an hour set aside for this. I mentioned that, so on Halloween, even if the vibe is silly, when we're giving someone a reading, they're going to take it seriously, and really important information can come up. So just a couple little things to keep in mind. There can be a tendency at Halloween to like want to like give funny readings about when people are going to die, or like dark and terrible things will happen. And watch that. Be careful with that, even though it might feel like fun in the party mood, but people will leave the party and take that with them, and it'll be in their minds. So just be thoughtful about that aspect of it. And I don't recommend reading. Well, okay, decide in advance if we're going to be reading for anybody who is departed, if any more mediumistic readings. So some people might not be comfortable with that, and it might ruin their whole holiday if they're not comfortable with that and that takes place. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I
So
hadn't thought about that. That's a very good point.
yeah. Now, so if your party is a lot of other weirdos like yourself, there's lots of fun games you can do with the tarot. And Barbara, I think you had some ideas for what those could be.
Yeah, I know. When you said this, I didn't think about doing tarot readings. Sorry, I was thinking of all the other things. So let's see some ideas I have. They can be the invitations. And all I meant by that is if you have a Franken deck or spare deck, or even just use them and make photocopies and write the invitations on them. If people even send invitations anymore, which probably not, how silly. Icebreaker games, which unless people know the tarot, I'm not sure this would work, but it might be fun to try. That thing where you put a card or to name on someone's back or forehead or wherever you put
Mhm.
it, and then you ask yes and no questions to try to figure it out. And then, this is just an idea I had. Like, if there are other little games that are being played
Mhm.
during the thing, if someone like wins the game or whatever, they could, as a prize, they get a tarot card, a randomly pulled tarot card. And at
Right.
the end of the night, they can take their handful of cards, like when you win tickets at a carnival, you take your cards to the reader, and the reader will interpret your fortune for you that you earned for yourself by winning games. Um, using the cards as prompts for charades. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I've never done this. This was just an idea. Now,
Sure.
this one I thought of you, and I think you might have done this. And it's probably where I got the idea, because you are a mixologist, but tarot themed drinks. And if people were really adventurous, you could have, like, if you have 5 drinks, you could have the 5 cards of those drinks, and they have to just randomly draw one, and that's what drink they have to get.
Sure. Okay. So like the death card might be like death in the afternoon, which is absinthe and champagne, or yes, it could be the menu, flipping over a card and associating like the the higher font could be an old fashioned. There you go. And then yeah, I'm good at this. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We could go all night, but
And then,
also also just as long drive responsibly, but the spirits can bring you into into a party mood, and also a divinatory mindset, I'd say. So you know, have a drink or two. Actually, 2.5 is like the exact part at which your open-mindedness meets your ability to articulate the meanings of the cards. And then
Yes, there have been studies done on this by us.
specifically by me in a lab setting
Yes.
on a podcast.
Well,
So
and you know, people I think are drinking alcohol less these days, or at least it feels like it. So I mean,
yeah.
there could be mocktails or anything, or
Hmm. Hmm.
ice cream sundaes. It could be anything, really.
Yeah. So just another couple ways for let's say you're not going to go a party, but other ways you want to bring tarot into your uh, Halloween experience, your Halloween season. One, so as we mentioned, Halloween is the Celtic New Year. It's the beginning, the end of summer, the beginning of winter. So this is a good time to do New Year's readings. Obviously, January is when we most do New Year's readings, but this could be the readings about the endings. And then January, December, you kind of do the beginnings readings. But like, what am I harvesting? Halloween was the last harvest, the blood harvest, when the livestock animals were harvested. So it could be a time to like, what do I need to do to bring my year into a close? Also, because it is the time when the veil between the living and the dead is thin, it is a good time to do those medium style readings. And again, I wouldn't necessarily just have those happen willy-nilly at a party, but it is the time of the year when I would do a reading to communicate with the beloved. And usually I just pull a card for them asking how they're doing, you know, and a second card is, do they have any advice for me? I know that there's people who have like mediumship talents, and then they have their own way of working with the beloved dead. I don't particularly identify as having those, so I just use tarot for doing that style reading. Or if anyone has like, do they have a message for you? And the trick with that is, how would my uncle Craig speak as the Six of Wands? You know, like what would his Six of Wands advice be to me, wherever you are, Uncle Craig? So
Yeah.
that
Yes.
makes sense.
Mhm.
Very cool.
Great
Anyway,
ideas for people to experiment and play with for their own parties this year.
yeah, absolutely. So this is the Tarot Mystics wishing you a happy Halloween and Fortuna et
Thank you.
Gloria.